This podcast is a part of the Dragon Suplex Podcast Network. Find us wherever you get your podcasts and visit us at dropskicksandnearfalls.com for daily articles about wrestling from around the globe.
To the queens.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum, and welcome back to Stardom Quest, the best weekly Stardom podcast anywhere in the world. I'm as always Alex, and I'm joined by Dylan. Hi, Dylan.
Hey, Alex. Hey, guys. Welcome back. I have returned to the land of Lashley, Colorado Springs, Colorado. No longer in Chicago, so I'm a bit sad and also tired because travel is a bitch. But we here talk about Stardom. As always, well, not as always, as of the last few weeks and going forward, we are part of the 5-Star Network. Very proud members of the team. And check out all of the other stuff as well. I don't know if you're going to do all that spiel. But
I was,
did
yes,
it
the
for you.
5-Star Network, host of us, Stardom Quest, the All Elite cast, hosted by Scott Edwards and 6-Star. We also have Dramatic Dream Dragons, still jealous of that name, that's hosted by Sandra and
I'm going to
friends.
say it every week.
Yes. And then we also have Watch Tej, which has about 6 people involved. So I do not know all of the names, but that seems very popular. So, check that out. And there's more coming. I think there's a website part that's going to go out soon with like articles and stuff. So we're not just a podcast thing. There's a website. It's going to be really cool. Going to cover a lot of wrestling, a lot of stuff that people who listen to this would enjoy because there's quite a few Joshi heads involved. So keep your eyes out on that. But yeah, we've quite a loaded week from Stardom, all things considered. There's a whole lot of news. First thing is that KiLynn King, kind of in an interview with I think it was Fightful, not with Scott for once. Scott did not do this one. She basically said that she would be back working with Stardom in 2023. So that's obviously this year. As you can imagine, very happy with that. I loved KiLynn King when she wrestled Mayu. And she didn't know what she was doing. She didn't really reveal what she was doing. I imagine it might be. I don't know if they would have her on an American show now that they have Mercedes. So maybe she's gonna come in for like an SWA match in Japan or a short run or something.
I feel like they're gonna build the NJPW women's division because there's also Hyan, whatever. She really good wrestler. She was training a lot with the New Japan LA Dojo, and that's like the first time that they've publicly had like a woman like be like an active like high level name participant outside Mercedes, who was also at the training session. But I imagine they might want to build up around it a little bit more. One interesting thing about the KiLynn King interview is that apparently Sumi Sakai was the one who booked her for the New Japan show the last time around.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, damn, that like Sumi has her hands in fucking everything. That is crazy. Shout out to her.
Sumi is the link. Like she's the link between America and Japan for a lot of the women. I know Jungle Kyona kind of went through her as well.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I feel like a lot is popping off in just Joshi in general that we do not have to talk about. But Jesus Christ, I like everything to do with Noah is like huge. And
Tokyo Joshi Pro is going to the Tokyo Dome. That's pretty crazy.
In a higher match level than any Stardom woman has ever competed at.
Oh yeah, they'll get more time as well. Like they're gonna get
like that's
way more time than Kairi and Tam.
Oh well, yeah, obviously Kairi and Tam, but even like last year they did I forget what match they ran, a 2-on-2 I think on second day, and that was like in the second match, and it was pretty nothing. But this is like middle of the card, like this is like a true show your stuff match, which is crazy.
Yeah.
That they well, actually, it's not crazy. Noah is probably smarter than New Japan in these sorts of areas. Well, Muto is probably smarter than New Japan.
Muto's a real one. Woke King
Muto's
Muto.
a real one.
He innovated the women's division. First ever
we just ain't gonna talk about
women's
the
division.
stuff,
You know. To be fair, he didn't
That is a
say it in a
great
bad
picture,
way.
though. That is a great picture, though,
Yeah,
of
yeah,
him with, like, the mist on his mouth. It's like anytime you wanna make a gay joke,
yeah,
you just put it. It's like, "Hey, they look kinda," and then
yeah.
it's just Muto.
I'm surprised that it hasn't
Great.
been pulled out whenever I talk about Club Venus, because it feel like that's a perfect opportunity for that photo.
I mean, didn't
'Cause
you talk about fucking dads yesterday? Like, I don't think that it's necessary anymore. I think we just expect it.
Listen, I wanted to ward off weirdos from annoying me about my
No, that's
tweet,
valid,
and
that's
it
valid.
worked because I have
It
less
did.
weirdos than usual because I threatened to smash their dads. So it
It's a
worked.
crazy sentence.
Well, listen, it works. You gotta go crazy sometimes.
Go crazy, go stupid.
But yeah, that's the KiLynn King thing. We have no idea what she's doing. Hopefully, it is something in Japan because she's cool.
Yeah.
Stardom has announced that they will be launching Stardom Card Party. It is basically an app for digital trading cards. They have physical trading cards, but now they're getting into the digital market. I know New Japan has a very similar game that a lot of people play. So this is just getting a Stardom version so that
Which
Bushiroad
is
could probably make
interesting.
more money.
'Cause they've been implementing Stardom Wrestlers into the New
Mm,
Japan one for, like they've been, like, doing a very, like, slow rollout, and they've been
yeah,
being very meticulous about it. So it's wild that there's like, "You know what? Fuck it. We'll just give them their own game." Which I mean, hey, cool.
gotta make
But
money.
it's interesting in that way.
I have seen some people like genuinely upset because they're like, well, I log into New Japan one every day. I'd like them to be together, whereas now I have to log into two. And so there are a few
Yeah,
people who are like
that's what I mean.
disappointed. But obviously, like you know where they're doing this. Like, come on. So yeah, they're gonna spread it out, and this is Bushiroad's thing. They do a lot of this kind of digital stuff, and it's what they're good at. So it's good to see them expanding Stardom even more and kind of treating it just like New Japan in some ways.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
not
never
a
gonna
big
play
card
it.
user.
Yeah.
Yeah, me
Like
neither.
I don't see the point when you like can't do anything to earn the cards. You just have to hope. Like I don't know. It doesn't seem very fun.
Gacha is a mysterious but beautiful art.
It just seems like gambling. And like
Yeah.
I once invested in
Yeah.
cryptocurrency, so I know what gambling is like. So
Oh,
okay,
brother.
no, it was kind of just like so I don't know if Americans have this. We have this thing called Revolut, right? And like you can put
I
money
don't
on
think
it
we have
and
that.
you can just do it like they want to just let you do anything. So on this Revolut, you can send people money, you can save, you can set up a vault, you can get a loan, you can invest in stocks,
That's
you can invest in
crazy.
crypto, and they're just like just do it, just do whatever. So I had like a little bit of money on the Revolut and I don't use it anymore. So I was like, why don't I just put small amounts of money into these tiny cryptocurrencies just to see what happens? And it was very funny. I lost 99% in like day one. So
Oh, that's
so
pissed.
it was worth it. It was quite funny.
No,
So
okay, we are not a crypto podcast. We will move off the subject in 1 second. We in fact do not endorse spending money on any of the stock market because I think it's kind of dumb. Personally, it's just educated gambling. But you do you. But I will say that the closest my I this was like right before, or this was when all of the crazy shit happened with like cryptocurrencies and with the stock market and with GameStop and all that shit. I remember I worked at a convenience store and this dude came down like from the apartment upstairs and he was like, "Man, this stuff's popping off." I was like, "Yeah, cool, man." And he's just like, "Yeah, I invested in this thing called Dogecoin." And I was like,
oh
"Why the
my
fuck
god.
would you do that?" And then he made like $5,000. And I was like, that is the dumbest motherfucker I've ever met. And somehow he just like that's not right. That's not how it should have happened. He lost it like immediately because he like reinvested it in a different fucking cryptocurrency because he's dumb. But yeah, I just thought that was a funny little anecdote about cryptocurrencies. Don't do it, kids. It's not smart.
Yeah, don't lose 99% in one day like I did.
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
Now they've Stardom have announced two matches for the next Stardom and Showcase. This is on the 26th of February. It's in Kobe International Exhibition Hall. They
Hmm.
announced the Kanzai Anywhere Falls rules match. It is Azumi versus Momoka Hanazono versus X versus Double X. So another four-way Falls Count Anywhere
Interesting.
match. The other match is Women's Professional Wrestling Muscle Japan #1 deciding muscle match. Saida versus
Love
Chanyota.
that.
That is
Love
amazing.
that. I
Chanyota
love that a lot.
Chanyota fits this brand so well.
Oh, she
I
like
love
Chain
this.
Yoda just fits Stardom. I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
people like undersell that because like she just meshes with everybody there.
hmm
Even like not even if she's not like the greatest in ring talent you've ever seen,
She's pretty good.
just the vibe. She's good. She's
Yeah.
good, especially for being as green as she is.
hmm
She's pretty solid. But just the vibe, she just works, right? She just works perfectly. She has that kind of comic undertone while also like being able to just fucking lay your head off. Like that's exactly what you need in Stardom, and she has it. So shout out to her.
Definitely.
I'm actually
Um,
excited for that match. That sounds fun.
it is. It is. Chanyota is also on the next New Blood. Well, this might not be the next one. I think they have one in February, don't they?
I feel like they should because I feel
Yeah.
like they're not ready for whatever the next
Yes.
one is.
So they've announced that on the 25th of March at the New Blood Premium Show. This is the one in the
Oh
Yokohama
yeah, they need to
Budokan.
have one. They need to have one because they have semifinal matches.
But the semifinals are on the Budokan now. So they've announced the
Oh, so it's a semifinal final
yeah
gimmick.
yeah they've announced the
Interesting.
semifinal pairings. It's Mariah and Tomoka Inaba versus Ami Sourei and Nanami. So the All Gods
Yep,
Eye meeting. And
saw
the
that
other
one
one
come.
is Starlight Kid and Karma versus Mai Sakurai and Chanyota. So that is the pairings for the next
I can't
the
believe.
New Blood pay per
Oh,
view.
I can't believe that we're about to see either Mirai's first championship win be a New Blood championship, or Starlight Kid and fucking Karma hold championships in this company. Like
Yeah.
those are the options. That's
Here's the
crazy.
thing. Would you take Starlight Kid and Karma winning those belts if it meant Kid doesn't win the white belt?
Sure. Like
Okay.
honestly, sure.
All right. I
I'm
had a
cool with it
feeling. Of
because I don't
course.
need to watch New Blood. We just do that. Like well, one of these days I could ask you, hey, can we just stop covering New Blood? And you'll probably be like, yeah,
No,
why not?
I wouldn't do that. We have to watch this stuff.
Yeah, but it's bad, like, it's
I thought
usually
this one
pretty
was
bad. I
good.
mean, this one was
Yeah.
really good, like, this one was quite good, but, if they have a couple stinkers, I think I can weasel my way into, like, watching a couple of the matches and then just not.
Of course. Of course. All right. Well, I think that's all the main stuff. After that, we have ShuPro stuff. So this is fun.
Oh, boy.
So the ShuPro voting has come out. It released earlier today. They had a match of the year. They had favorite women of the year, the faction of the year, all that kind of stuff. Um, Now, obviously, you can't take this stuff as gospel. Every voting audience has its own biases, right? Like that's just a part of an audience. No audience is like fully objective. All right, like it's how it works. So the ShuPro voting audience obviously has its own biases towards what ShuPro covers, right? You know, because ShuPro, it's a magazine, doesn't write about everything, writes about some stuff. So there is obviously going to be that bias there. But these are obviously kind of a good indication of how things are going. So for Stardom, one of the interesting things is that the fourth most popular match of last year was Natsupoi versus Tam Nakano in the cage match.
Jeez.
That got 860 votes.
That is wild to me.
That was above Kaito Kiyomiya versus Keiji Muto,
Like,
Will
that's
Ospreay
absurd.
versus Tetsuya Naito, Okada versus Shingo, and Mayu
I
versus
mean,
Kairi.
at least if it was over the Despy versus Jin Kasai match, I might actually just give up on wrestling.
That was second.
Because I'd be very depressed. Because that was my favorite match last year. So nothing beats that for me personally.
Yeah,
But man, if they if they found a way to be like, you know what, that cage match, it was just better. I would have like blown a gasket
that's
and
fair.
denounced ShuPro forever. And I like ShuPro. I like their
Yeah.
covers. They look cool.
Now the other Stardom matches that are on there, Julia versus Suzu was number 6, and Mayu versus Kairi was number 10. So
I like the Julia versus Suzu pick.
yeah, I
Like
always
that's
think it's
interesting to me.
interesting how different what like a high-end match is to the native audience versus us. Because remember when they had like Tam versus Mayu as one of the best matches of the year, and like most international fans had forgot about that, and most international
Yeah.
probably would have said that Julia versus Tam on the GP final was like better than Julia versus Suzu,
See,
or they'd have had like a Siri match up there. But there's no Shuri on this. Like that is absurd, right? Like that it's
There's no
just
Shuri and
so
there's no Saya,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
interesting.
And obviously, I think Julia
Yeah,
versus Shuri at the Dream Queendom was probably too late to qualify because that's
yeah,
I
because
could see it
the
happening.
voting started on like the 13th of December,
Yeah,
as far as I'm
yeah.
aware,
So that
and
that
that
explains
ended
that.
like 13th of January,
Hmm.
something like that. But yeah, uh, I mean, I notoriously preferred the Suzu match over the Tam match on that final,
Yeah.
so I'm cool with it. I think I agree with that. Uh, it's definitely not like the best match of the year, period. But I thought it was like a really, really good match, high quality match. And if you know, I like it because it gives Suzu her flowers. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I think even like for somebody who and obviously we talk about casual fans, everybody talks about casual fans, it's kind of dumb to some degree, but for somebody who came into Stardom in January and was only on a few shows leading up to the 5-star and then lost her first five-star matches and then but somehow built this like this fan base in Stardom, I mean, cuz you know that like fucking not every prominence fan is watching a Stardom show.
Hmm.
Just just for Suzu. Obviously, there are a lot of Suzu fans. There's a lot of Suzu crossover fans, but the fact that she kind of like built that and then had that match with Julia, great match. But she got a fan vote for that match being so good is pretty dope, in my opinion. You know, what I mean, like you don't see a lot of independent wrestlers on these lists. You know, what I mean, that aren't legends like Jun Kasai, and even he's a Freedoms guy. He's not even a freelancer. But do you get what I'm trying to say? That it's interesting to see someone that's not, you know, the first expectation
Well, I
for a
mean,
match of the year contender.
an indie wrestling women's wrestler getting on there is pretty crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I mean, look, Prominence is an indie. Um, So definitely, I get where you're coming from there. But that's just Stardom. Stardom's raising their profile, isn't it?
Yeah.
Speaking of Stardom, they won the Faction of the Year award. Cosmic Angels had that, and Oedo Tai
I
was
don't know
third,
how
which is absurd.
but like that is where I start questioning my reality. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
that's where I'm like I get it. Like some factions aren't some people's cup of tea, and some people really like it. I get it with Oedo Tai. Like I get why a lot of people like Oedo Tai, but like Cosmic Angels being the number one is wild to me.
Yeah.
And DDM not getting on the list also crazy to me. Queen's Quest getting low makes sense. Stars not on the list at all is a bit interesting. I would have thought Stars over Queen's Quest because Queen's Quest didn't do a lot.
Mm.
But again, this is all fan vote, so it's just a matter of like which collaboration of wrestlers you like the most. Um, so I get it, but it's just that's wild to me that Cosmic Angels won that.
What's even weirder is the favorite wrestler vote. And this one's insane. Tam Nakano, fourth most popular wrestler, the number one for Stardom. Starlight Kid, fifth most popular wrestler, number two for Stardom. Unagi Sayaka and Mina Shirakawa also in the top 10. Julia, Natsupoi, Sai Kamatani, Mayu Iwatani, all in the top 15. And then you have Utami and Shuri sitting around 20, which is very interesting. Because, like Hiroshi Tanahashi and Tetsuya Naito are the top here, the top two. And they're obviously, like, that's obvious. They're incredibly
Yeah.
popular. And I used to remember New Japan fans would always be like, "Oh, you can't take these votes seriously. Okada's not going above Naito." And I'm like, "Have you listened to people react to Naito?" It's kind of
I mean, he's
similar
the
here.
reason why New Japan. That's he's. I love that anecdote where like the president was like, "Yeah, the reason we decided to give like cheering back is really because Naito. Like
Mm,
we want to hear that shit again. That's just cool."
yeah.
And I mean, yeah, Naito's over like Rover.
So I think it's
Go on.
very interesting that Tam and Kid are so high up here, and Mina as well. Like that's just really
Where's
interesting to me.
Mina?
She's eighth. She's above Julia.
Jesus Christ.
Um,
What has the world come to?
So yeah, I mean, it's interesting though that like Utami and Shuri, who they like spent 2 years essentially building up, um, are below people like Sai Kamatani, like Natsupoi, Mayu obviously is above them, Julia is above them. It's kind of just interesting because obviously that's people like charismatic, entertaining wrestlers. I know it's shocking to some people, but yeah, this vote is just very interesting, and I like you can see why they pushed Tam so hard when like Bushiroad came in, because there was a very like quick shift to like putting Tam on all of the television stuff and putting her into the feud with Julia, and it's obviously paid off now where she's the fourth in the voting for the most popular wrestler in ShuPro. Um,
That is crazy.
yeah, and this is, I mean, I'm not gonna like check, but I assume this is the most we've ever had like Stardom wrestlers in the top 10, probably even the top 20. Like they have
Oh
more
yeah.
spots than anybody, I think. Like they have more than everybody in the top 20 because New Japan only has a few, and then the rest are like Noah, Secret Base somehow, Saori Anu, Jun Kasai, Yuki Arai is there. TJPW only has two people on the entire like top 50, which is crazy to me. It's
Well,
just
there's Yuki Arai, huh?
Yuki Arai and Mizuki, which is crazy. So yeah, Stardom just completely lapped everybody on this. Um, Miyu Amasaki was 46th. So Miyu is very popular. She was number 10 in the newcomer award as well, and she's top 50 here in the most popular wrestler voting.
What? That's just. I don't get it, man.
Yeah.
I feel like an old man when I listen to these ShuPro
Yeah.
awards because I'm just like it doesn't make sense. Get rid of it. You know, I mean, like that's like my immediate thought is like none of this makes any sense to me. But like at the same time, it's just different strokes, different folks. You know how it is.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you can't like build your promotion around voting, but it's just really interesting to see who the fans really like, and who they're getting behind. And Miyu Amasaki is here. Um, Waka Scam is very high as well. Like it's just very interesting. But yeah, Cosmic Angels really has a stranglehold on that top 10. So that's Unagi is such a big um loss, I guess, if you want to say it, because I feel like most people assume she's gone now that she's working America and she showed up in Great. Um,
Yeah, it's kind of like I feel like she's a marvelous wrestler.
yes,
You
yeah,
know,
she
like
she feels
that's
like a marvelous,
like I feel
yeah.
like I associate her more with Chigusa than I
Mm.
do with Cosmic Angels at this point.
And like
Because I
we
mean
knew she
they're
was,
going to America together.
yeah, like we knew Unagi was popular, but like number 7 on this, like that's really high, and if she never comes back to Stardom full time, then that's just a big loss because they always knew that they
Yeah.
had somebody very popular in her, but then maybe they didn't know more popular than Keiji Muto. So I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, that's the Shoe Pro stuff, which is very interesting to see Stardom just like very quickly start getting itself a name amongst the local
Assert
fans.
themselves.
Yeah, even though the gap is still there to New Japan, because I know there was a ticket report from a Japanese website or whatever that had tickets totted up, and I know Stardom was like second in all of Japan for 2022, so that's very good. And you see the Stardom numbers, it's really interesting because it goes 2012 to like now, and there's some years where Stardom was only selling like I think one of them was like 12,000 tickets, and then now they're like number 2 in Japan or something. It was very interesting to see. Um,
Yeah.
Now, other news. I think there's just one other thing. They announced that there's going to be cheering for the Yokohama Arena show. So that's
So
fantastic. That's what we were looking for. Because I was like, listen, man, I know this Eddie on pay per view is cool and all, but give me cheering for Dream Slam 2. So we
I
have
know
it.
I wrote the article for Wink about the cheering in Edion, and
Mm,
I was like, so basically the goal is for them to get cheering in Yokohama.
yeah.
Like that's what this means. Is like that's pretty much the beginning and end of it. You know that show that Mercedes is supposed to be on? Yeah, that one. That's where they actually want to be cheering. But this is like the test run. So there you go. And I was right. And it's not even a test run. They're already doing it. So that's dope.
Hmm.
I'm really excited.
Yep.
Uh, Yokohama Arena. Like I haven't seen. Well, I probably have. I just forgot. But that Noah New Japan show. That crowd was good. Like that I forgot how good that arena is. Like it's just like it just feels like
Yeah.
I don't know.
That Noah
Even though that one
show,
was packed,
yeah,
it was a packed show, but just the vibe of the arena is definitely a good one. So I'm excited.
definitely. I feel like that Noah show gives us a very interesting benchmark for Stardom at that venue
Yeah.
because they're not gonna do what they're not gonna do a number like
Oh
Noah
no.
did, but I feel like you want to be getting near half that, like with all of the months of anticipation and Mercedes money and outsiders, like Yeah, you probably need to hit half of what Noah did to consider
What
it good.
what did the crossover show do? It did 5,500.
Yeah, Noah New
Wait,
Japan got washed by the New Japan or the Muto show.
yeah,
But I feel like
that's
if you
wild.
do in that 4,000 region for this Stardom show, they'd be happy. Because that would be their biggest show to date. And that's kind of what they've
Oh
wanted it
yeah,
to be, based on everything they've leaked to Dave Meltzer. Because that was the first thing he said. It was like, they want this to be their biggest show ever. So you obviously have to draw your biggest crowd ever.
which
Um,
I don't think is like unreasonable. I think like
no, no.
the tides kind of call for it. It makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I mean, they have all the momentum. They're coming off the great performance in the ShuPro Awards. Their TV presence is great. They're gonna have Mercedes money on the show. Yeah, like there's definitely some a chance there. But I think that's all of the news. I think we're finally done with all that. It only took us a half hour, so that's pretty good. Now,
Woo.
we have two shows to review. So the first show to review was on January 20th. This was New Blood 6 in the Belsal Takadano Baba. This is 307 fans. That is nasty. Oh my god.
It's not great. Not a great number.
This brand is
Uh,
ice cold and it is running the Yokohama Budokan in 2 months. Like that is gonna be a disaster.
yeah, yeah, it will be.
Like that's crazy.
I- and it's crazy because this is probably the best New Blood show to date.
Yeah, it was really good.
Uh,
Yeah.
it was pretty solid across the board. It almost had a clean sheet if it wasn't for a certain undead zombie. Uh, yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, really good show.
Yeah. Yeah, because just looking at it, this is like 100 down from what they were doing for the fifth one. They did what 400 for the fourth one as well. Like yeah, it's an ice cold little brand, and it's I don't even know there's much you can do about it because like fans aren't silly. They know these are lesser shows, right? Like you can
Yeah.
like OTT used to do this, and obviously I'm not comparing Stardom to OTT because one is much better, but like they used to be able to run the
It's
national.
obviously OTT.
Yeah,
Go on.
because they used to be able to run the national stadium for big shows, and they'd get like 2,000 people, right? And then they
Mhm.
would run contender shows in the back of the national stadium, and you'd struggle to get like 300, right? It's the same venue, same company, but people just knew that contenders meant lesser, right? And
Yeah.
that's kind of maybe what's setting in with New Blood, because these people, Japanese fans aren't
Which
aliens. They're obviously going to go, oh, this is a lesser show, and they're less likely to go.
I don't really get why they built it like this, honestly. What my thing is I don't get why they are like going for like Yokohama Budokan. Um and like stuff like that. Like where have they been running these shows? Like where was the show again?
This one was the
Like have they
Belsal
run at the same place?
Takada and Baba.
This is in Takadama Bottom. See, like, because my thing is this should, or I imagine that the kind of goal of this is to be their Lionsgate project, which if you guys don't know, back in the day, but back in the day, I mean like 2016, 2017, New Japan used to run shows that would have outsiders come in and mainly center around the young lions, right?
Hmm.
And they would run them every single time they ran them in Shinjuku Face, and because it's New Japan, they sold it out every time. Like they sold like or not sold it out, but they capped the attendance at 467, and they got it every single time, except for like one or two. You know what I mean? So like obviously New Japan is bigger, and especially at that point, New Japan was bigger than Stardom is. But like they still ran a place like Shinjuku Face, which has a 500 total capacity. Like uh, but I don't get why Stardom's like, you know what, this is a dying brand, but we're gonna keep shooting for the sky type of thing. Like they could definitely run these shows in Shinjuku Face, or hey, maybe bring it back to Shinkiba First Ring, and just like obviously you can get a few more, but I think it would be better to just kind of give it a packed house that's smaller instead of like barely putting a dent in these not even big arenas, but just bigger spaces. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like New Japan was smart enough to do that back in the day, and New Japan hates doing small arenas. You know what I mean? Like that's always kind of been them, is they refuse to do anything smaller than 1,000 capacity, uh, usually. But they did it for Lionsgate because they understood what it was. And I think Stardom and Rossi is a bit. I don't know.
Well,
This is
th-
one of those times where he has to kind of lower his expectations. I
yeah.
think.
See, the thing with this one and the next one is they're running those buildings 2 days in a row, you know? So I don't
Yeah.
know if it is more cost efficient to like bring the whole setup and set it up for the New Blood show and just keep it there for the next day. Um, because they ran Bell Sal for New Blood, and then the next day they were there for the award show. So, and the Yokohama Budokan is the same. Like they're running it on the 25th, and then on the 26th, I think is the might be the Triangle Derby finals. So like they're doing New Blood and then the Stardom show. So I don't know if that's why they're running the bigger spots, is because they're getting a maybe they're getting a deal to run the venue for 2 days, or it lets them set up the production a day early without
Yeah.
traveling. I'm not fully sure. Um, but I'd say that's why they're chancing it for bigger venues. But like, I don't know if it's cost effective to do that if you're gonna keep drawing like 300 people.
Yeah. And I mean, where's it? I'm doing like I'm doing maths now
Dear.
because I'm interested in this because this is a very. Why the fuck isn't it showing? Hold on. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because yeah, the place they used to run Shinagawa, which they ran the first
Hmm.
one and not the second one. They ran a couple of them. That had like a 600 person capacity,
Yeah.
right? And it got like what 500 or 400.
Mm.
So it's like I think you're probably right that it is just a matter of like where they are. Like it's like, oh well, why wouldn't we just do this in a bigger venue, right? Uh, but I do think that maybe keeping it to. Plus, I like Shinjuku Face as an arena. I like the smaller arenas, and I think this is a smart way to kind of just. Uh, I don't know. You get what I'm saying, but it definitely is probably just a cost-effective thing.
Yeah. Okay, this is just me being funny. Over under, does this show, does the New Blood Premium draw more or less than the Tsukushi Tsukasa retirement show at the Yokohama Budokan?
What did that one do?
861. More like over or under
Ooh,
for New Blood Premium.
under.
Oh,
I'd
okay.
say it gets like 600.
Really?
Yeah, probably 6, 7. I
Okay.
I feel like 800 for a New Blood show is a bit high. I mean, again, it depends on what they put on it. If they get Suzu on there, if they get like if they get some good peeps on there, which like who still fall into a New Blood kind of thing, I think they could probably do some good stuff in there, which I imagine they will. But I feel like the cap is like 750
That's fair. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
because I mean they haven't broken like they've broken 500 once on New Blood. I think if that's even true,
Mm.
like they might have only broken they haven't even broken it possibly. I was just on the page. I could have told you, but I
Yeah.
don't have the
So
page anymore.
anyway, you have them going for the smallest. I think that would be the smallest Yokohama Budokan number since it opened, because it's only open like 2 or 3 years. Because I think Ice Ribbon's lowest there was 700. So
Oh, they'll beat that. Like, I think in between that, I think in between 700 and 800 is
yeah.
probably where I see it.
Okay.
Uh,
All right.
cause yeah,
Makes sense. Well, maybe Stardom actually did smaller, because I know. Yeah. Oh yeah. Stardom. Okay. Yeah. So Stardom at 707 there for the first day of the Grand Prix in 2021. So you're going over that though.
707. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd probably say
Okay.
over
So
that.
yeah, that'll be interesting to keep eyes on. Does New Blood Premium
Yeah,
outdraw
they
some
have
of
not
these?
broken 500 yet,
Yeah.
so that's a bit concerning.
Yes, definitely. But yeah, that'll be an interesting one to see anyway. But yeah, in the opener of this show, this was translated. It is no longer. Oh wait. It is translated. Oh no.
Rena over Moran,
Thank you, because it was telling me Japan over Melon, and I did not think that was.
still true.
um, yeah, this was a really solid opener. Moran is really good. They like
You know what is a really interesting
well,
stat? Moran is the second person that Rena has ever wrestled that is younger than her. and the other
Hina?
is Hina
Yeah,
by
I
5
feel
minutes.
them. That's crazy. Yeah, Mirana's so young. That is absurd. And she's just out here doing fucking moonsaults. Did you see that? She pulled out a
Dude, she does a
moonsault.
better lion salt than fucking Chris Jericho does. That's
Yeah.
insane. Like, that's absurd.
Dude, if she
That
like
should
if she
not be
sticks
happening.
with it, she's got something. Like that.
Oh, I'm saying I think she needs to be like a permanent like opening spot.
Mm,
Has to have a permanent opening spot on this fucking show because like she can lose. She's a child. Like it's very easy for her to just take
hmm.
falls for the next 5 years. But she's good enough to where like these opening like the same thing with Miyu Amasaki. She gave Miyu one of her better singles matches like
Yeah,
ever, which is crazy because she is 12 or 13. I don't, like that's not how it should work, but it is. So yeah, I would just give her like a permanent spot as like fodder on these
yeah.
shows because she just it's perfect for her. She can show up, show out, and then lose because that's what you want from her, and she did a great job on that here.
All right. So sorry for the interruption. But I just realized that I've been told of a wrestler in Ice Ribbon who's really good as well, who's a teenager called Saran. So we have Saran and Miran.
Oh, I've heard about these
Yeah,
things. Yes, I've been told that there are two teenagers and they have similar
yeah,
names.
and they're both very
Uh,
good.
they're
Yeah,
both very good.
which is great. But yeah, Moran, get her on as many shows as possible.
You know, this, and I know that we are over time, and we should probably get a little bit faster with it. But I will say that my buddy Passion does not watch these shows on the regular. So Miyu Amasaki came up in conversation. I was like, yeah, she had a great match with this like 12-year-old from Diana named Moran, and she's like, there's no way that that sentence actually happened. Like he was absolutely in disbelief. He's like, how like what? Because when you think about it, the existence of Moran in Stardom makes no
Hmm.
sense in this current day and age because she just like shows up and has like some of these wrestlers' best
Yeah,
matches. And it's like, oh yeah, she's like 12. But yeah, I just thought that was a funny little anecdote that I remember. Passion was like, I've never even seen Miyu Amasaki wrestle, and now you're saying she's wrestling a 12-year-old, and I was like, yeah, cool.
that is Joshi for you. I don't know. The next match on the show was Raqqa beating Marika Kobashi in 6.5 minutes with a freezer bomb. Marika Kobashi, where was that?
Good,
Where did she
good.
get this from?
Yeah, she's good.
Because I mean, in Ice
It's
or not Ice
interesting.
Ribbon, in TJPW, she was always known as like more charismatic than in ring. But even then, like the charisma was okay. But here she just shows up and it is like, holy shit! Like the
Yeah,
presentation.
she always had the look and like the
Mm,
presence, I would say. Maybe not always, but she had it in TJPW like that. She was one of my first favorite TJPW wrestlers until I saw her wrestle. I know that sounds really mean, but I'm just being honest. Just because I really liked how she like her look and just her vibe, she was really cool. And I didn't see a lot from her in TJPW work wise, but I think that here, her and Raqqa really had a good showing. Against one another, she really showed up, and yeah, she's definitely doing a lot better freelancing than she was before, as far as I'm aware. This is the first match of hers I've seen freelancing though. So
yeah, like her in ring obviously still needs to get there, but she's like really inexperienced for somebody.
she's showing more potential.
Yeah, like she's got less than 200 matches, considering she debuted in
Yeah,
2016. Like that's very young.
that's fucked
Yeah, like that's
actually.
still very new.
Yeah,
So
that's wild.
she's still getting to grips with that kind of stuff. Um, but the entrance just blows you away. Like she's got so much more charisma and so much more star power. Like it is absurd. And it might just be a case of she's in the right setting now. But I think some of it might just be that TJPW wasn't letting her be fully herself, because there's nobody in TJPW quite like that, you know? Like the closest they have is Hikari Noah, and even then, she's
I think
very toned
yeah,
down, and they've spent the last year
I think
burying her.
TJPW is really
So
interesting.
I feel like looking at this, I was like, what would her Hikari Noah look like outside of TJPW? Because if this is what Kobashi did, what could somebody like Hikari Noah do? Like, what sort of limitations are there in TJPW of like, okay, you have to present yourself a certain way, that now we're seeing Marika kind of really show out because she's gone beyond their parameters.
I was gonna say not to bury TJPW, but I think you did that
They're
already.
burying
So I just
Hikari
went
Noah.
there.
They deserve it.
Um,
Okay, they're breaking
okay,
me.
but no, I think that there is a sort of thing with TJPW where it's like and not saying that Stardom doesn't have this to some degree, but it's definitely a different. It's completely different. But I think in TJPW, it has its standard
Mm,
and it has its outliers. And its outliers either thrive like Miyu or they absolutely suffer like Noah,
yeah,
right? Like, because like Miyu Yamashita is not the prototypical TJPW wrestler. Kari Noah is not the prototypical TJPW wrestler. Somebody like um, Sakurai or Mizuki or Yuka or like there are a lot of like or Shoko. Like obviously they all have their different. They're not interchangeable by any means. Their characters are very very different. They are very different wrestlers, but they all have a similar vibe. They have like or their characters are in a lane, right? Even if they're different. But when somebody completely steps out of that lane or somebody exists completely outside of that lane, either they thrive or they absolutely fail.
mm,
And I think for someone like Noah and somebody like Marika Kobashi, who obviously she didn't really put in um, enough, like just matches over matches to like prove whether or not she would sink or swim there. But still, I think that is kind of the case for some of those wrestlers who just don't make it because they're too different. Um, but so for some, it helps them thrive in that company. So it's an interesting dynamic in my
yeah. I
opinion.
mean, some people just work better in other places, right? Malachi
Yeah,
Black is the biggest example of that because he was on the European Indies forever as Tommy End, and he was just like a tag
really,
guy. Like
I
he was
hated him. Yeah, I
occasionally
did not like
Yeah,
Tommy
he was
End.
occasionally like a main eventer to lose to somebody, but he was mostly a tag dude. And then he goes to America, and all of a sudden, just this never before tapped into charisma comes out of him, right? Like some people just work better
Yeah,
in different places, and that could just be what it is with Kobashi, where PPP Tokyo and Stardom just fit her better. It might just be that what TJPW wanted her to do didn't fit her. Like I don't really know, but either way,
I will say I think Mirai would have been in the Miyu category
oh yeah,
if
yeah.
she
I
had
mean,
stuck there.
they
Like she was one of those outliers that like definitely was gonna become
yeah,
huge
like
in
the
their company.
TJPW Mirai thing is interesting because they had her doing the Aja Kong thing, right? Where like
Yeah,
deadly Aja Kong was
that
letting
was
her
great.
beat on her. Like she sold a lariat for Mirai, and that was like a big thing, right? Um, but it's like they obviously saw something in Mirai Mayumi, but it was just Stardom was always her goal. But yeah, I mean they weren't stupid. They were gonna eventually get behind her, I'm sure. Just would have taken like 6 years. I don't know.
Didn't have the
Their
time.
pacing
Yeah.
is so strange to me. But you know what? Enough TJP review. Marika Kobashi, complete 180. Loved it. Amazing. Hope she gets more reps here. Still don't know what her deal is because I'm pretty sure she still wants to do international stuff, but never takes international dates and wants to study, but is also wrestling. So who knows? But she's great.
If you want to hear more positive talk about TJPW, go listen to Watch Teach on the Five Star Network. Great plug. I'm patting myself on the back for that one.
um,
Thank you.
And that was that match. Yeah, it was pretty solid. I do think Marika needs work, but Raqqa was good, and it was okay. They did have a bit of a moment after that makes you think, oh, maybe Marika will team with some of the with the Thai crew, but I don't know if that'll come to happen. Um, the next match on the show then was the Passion Injection match. Nai Takahashi
Hell
beat
yeah.
Waka in just under 12 minutes with a refrigerator bomb. Such a good match. Like this was everything it should have
Very
been.
good.
Like
My single critique is that Waka could have been a bit more feral. I think that like there could have been a point where she just like starts
mhm.
wailing and just throwing it a bit more. But she did that enough. It wasn't like she didn't do that, but she definitely could have gone a little bit more feral, in my opinion, because you know how I like that sort of underdog scrap type. But this match was great. That was the only criticism I had of it overall at all. That was like a really really good match.
Yeah, no, like it was exactly what it needed to be, And Nanai, for any criticism you could throw at her, this is the perfect match for her because she is gonna
There's
put somebody through the ringer. And
I will never tolerate Nanai slander ever again because she's actually might be like top 3 wrestler in Stardom right now. Like for me, like I've enjoyed every match she's had this year, pretty
yeah, she's
much,
doing good
and
stuff.
that's like she's had great end of the year last. Like she's just doing incredibly. But yeah, I also I one little thing is that I liked. everybody at ringside, like Mina, Tam, Colors, everybody was like they filled up half of the fucking ring apron, like cheering on the mat and like rooting her on. I thought that was really nice. It feels like Waka has something to her, and we talk about this every week, but it feels like there's really something growing uh there, and I like that a lot. And obviously, there's few better at beating the shit out of someone than Nanae
Yeah.
Takahashi.
Yeah, no, she excels at her role, and Waka was fantastic as a babyface, kind of fighting back. Um, and this may not be the best match of the show, but it is the most memorable. Like, you still
Yeah,
remember
I would
this.
say
This
so.
still stands out as a such a fantastic match. Um,
They also kind of gave the game away after the
a little
match.
bit. So afterwards, Nanai put Waka over on the microphone. And she was like, "You like,
She likes
yeah,
Waka a lot. You
yeah."
could tell. Like she really like out of kayfabe kind of thing. She really
Mhm.
does like respect and think Waka has some potential. Because like even at the end of the show, like they were like they were hanging out together.
Yeah, no, so she was kind of saying like, you listen to these people go crazy for you. Like you can keep digging deeper. You have to find that answer and win. Like if you just keep believing in yourself, you'll do it. And if you leave Cosmic Angels, like that wouldn't be very good for you because this is where you're at home. Um, Waka responded by saying, "Hey, pro wrestling hurts, but it's amazing. Um, and I want to wrestle you on New Blood Premium 1-on-1. I want to do it again." So Nanai was like, "Yeah, sure, why the hell not?" So, you're doing Waka and Nanai again on the deadline of Waka needing to get her first win. So that is D-Day for the Waka thing.
Something's going
Yeah.
down.
Now, some
Yeah.
people have said Waka might win. Um, I'm not sure of that because Nanai is still a tag champion. I'm not sure if Waka pins a
I
tag
well,
champion.
I think I think I think in a weird way, this Stardom booking is incredible. Like it's not, but like because it's just like kind of an accident. This puts more doubt in my head that or more belief in my head that it's possible Seven Up is transitional to Mahime.
Well, I'd say they're more transitional to Melt here again in April, but I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't want to talk about that. You know what I mean?
Um,
Like,
To me, it seems
um,
like Nanai will win, and it'll be, obviously a very tense match, and then she'll be like, "Look, join us," because that seems to be the way it is.
yeah. I mean, I'm not against that. I think that'd be
Because at
interesting.
this stage,
Uh,
Cosmic Angels doesn't need a Waka anymore, because it seems to just be like, the Colors crew and Meltier. Um, that or Mina gets her for Club Venus, because Mina's very behind Waka. Like she didn't give the ultimatum. She
yeah.
really likes her. She was cheering her on. So maybe like Club Venus is
But
a.
then again, I don't know if Club Venus exists in two
I'd say it
months.
will. I don't know. Like Mina is such a
It's
strange one because it seems
strange.
like they are moving her slowly into being her own thing. And her finishing in top 10 in that ShuPro vote, like they might see something that
I
we
mean, she
don't.
got the
Yeah.
cover. She got the cover before like a lot of people get a Shoe Pro cover.
There's been
Uh,
a very noticeable shift in her since the injury, I think. Because I mean,
they put her in the pre-match
yeah,
video.
like before the injury, it was like, yeah, she's like number 3 in Cosmic Angels. She's never touching the white belt. Now it's like she looks great leading a faction. She doesn't, they're protecting her. She's in there with the stars. Like they paired her with Mayuki, right? That's how she's the star of the show there. Um, and it feels more likely that they'll might give her the white belt because she's been angling for it. Like I don't know, they've done a good job with Mina, not doing the babyface story, but in presenting her as a much bigger deal than she was pre-injury, to the point where it's like what if Club Venus does break away? Like I wouldn't be so shocked now. Whereas before, had you told me Mina would get her own faction, I'd have called you crazy. Like it's crazy. But I don't know, maybe like with the Waka thing, that could be where it goes, or it could be joining Nanai. It's kind of very open at the moment.
I feel like Waka to Club Venus would make sense, but it also would not be necessary. Whereas like I think they're trying to protect everybody in Seven Up,
Yeah,
NSA, whatever you want to call them. And I like even units to some degree they like to protect. Like not too much, but just enough. So I could definitely see Waka kind of being the like lower rung there and getting a couple wins at some point with them. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting. Obviously, his Waka story is like one of the bigger stories in the company right now. So we dwell on it a lot, but it's definitely important to dwell on, I think.
It's the best
I'm
story they
interested to see
have
where it goes.
because the
Yeah,
rest of them are very
yeah.
sparse, and this one's the consistent one, so it's pretty good. But yeah, that's that on the Waka and Nanai stuff. Um, Next match on the show then was Nanami and Amisore beating Momoka Hanazono and Momo Kogo. Amisore pinned Hanazono, was it? With a Blue Thunder Bomb? No, Kogo?
No, no, it was Ami over
Oh,
Kogo,
okay, with a
Blue
Blue
Thunder.
Thunder Bomb, and that sent them through to the semifinals of the New Blood Tag Championship
Poor
tournament.
Momokogo. Can't even take the Thunderbolt.
Yeah, yeah.
That's rough.
This match was
Um,
really good whenever Momoka was in there, and I loved how she was selling the chops. Like, that is
yeah,
next level because she was like bracing herself. Her breathing was getting really different. Like, she was bracing herself for these, and then she fell and would just scream and would fire back with these really loud forearms. Her forearms are great. Like,
oh,
way
they're a
she was
thing.
selling those chops is amazing. Like, you knew she was gonna get hurt, and yet she was still powering through. Like, nobody does that. Nobody sells the chop like Hanazono does. It is so genius. She's so amazing. This woman is the best pro wrestler, the most galaxy brain pro wrestler on earth. Like, I love Momoka. I'm all in on the Hanazone. Um, yeah, this match was just really really good whenever she was in. Like, I know it got bad when it was Ami and
I
Momokoko. when
I don't think it got bad. Well, okay,
when
it went a little bit
Amisore
long.
starts locking in that Risa Serra style Boston
Yeah.
Crab or whatever you call it, I'm just like, I'm out. I'm not doing it.
Oh, the Styles
Yeah,
crab.
I'm not doing it. So yeah, but when Momoko was in there, it was very good.
I like the
But
Styles crab.
yeah, Ami and Momokoko was not as good.
I thought that Momokogo got some good hope spots and some near falls. Obviously, Hanazono was like the star of that team and star of the match really overall. But I thought Momokogo had some good stuff in it. I definitely get what you mean. I feel like Ami is a real Orton when it comes to like match flow, where it's like sometimes it works, but sometimes it just completely kills all of the spark that a match
Yeah.
has. I wouldn't say that she did that here, but she almost did, and that wouldn't have been fun. Um, but yeah, she beat Gogo with the Blue Thunder Bomb. Honestly, I feel like I start like spacing out when Ami has a closing match stretch. Uh, I think that's kind of what it is. So I don't really remember much of it until I saw Kogo get beat, and I was like, "Damn, that's tough." And then Azumi came out, and that was the match was good, but it was definitely one of the less notable ones of the show.
Yeah, it was kind of just there.
Yeah, yeah, that's how I see it. And then Azumi came out and challenged Hanazono to a false count anywhere match, which we talked about earlier. We have two X's now.
Yeah, no, Azumi just like showed up out of nowhere, and then everybody was like, "Oh," and yeah, she was like, "Hey, I wanna like wrestle you in New Blood or not New Blood, Showcase."
It is really funny. It is really funny because like nobody knows what the fuck Azumi's up to. You know what I mean? So like everybody was like, "Oh, is she gonna are we gonna see another high speed match now?" And then she's like, "False count
Mm.
anywhere. I ain't telling you when the high speed match is
Yeah,
happening.
yeah.
This is my belt buckle now."
Hanazono straight up was like, "Did you like show up just to tell me that? You wanna do a false count anywhere? Okay, all right."
It's crazy that like Azumi isn't on these shows. I've said this multiple times, but like I feel like that's just like such a random, easy, just like, oh yeah, just fucking she's under 21. Just throw her on there. You know, she's younger relatively. You know, like I feel like that's just like I mean Mirai's on there.
Mm.
Uh you know what I mean? Suzu was on there for a while. Nanai is on it. Like I don't see why Azumi isn't, but you know, it's them.
Yeah, I don't know. She's a strange omission, but I don't know. Maybe they just wanna keep her protected to a certain degree. I don't really know. I'm gonna be honest with you, but yeah, they did set up the four-way false count anywhere match. That's kind of a staple of the showcase show now. It's just they're gonna do random shit.
It's kind of Azumi's
Hanazono in one of
thing.
those though is gonna be amazing. That is gonna be
That'll be
so
fun.
fun.
Yeah.
I love that. The next match on the show then was another match in the tag tournament. It was Chanyota and Mai Sakurai beating Lady C and Hina. So sadly, it was announced that Miyu Amasaki is injured. She's gonna miss a few shows. So Lady C was pulled from the three-way and put into this to team with Hina. So we did not get our Kevin and Hina team. Uh,
Yeah, so you see the reason why we call Miyu Kevin is because the way she actually hurt herself was much like Kevin from The Office. She dropped the thing of chili and she burned her leg,
Wow.
and it was like a whole thing.
Oh wow.
So yeah, that's why we call her Kevin. I don't know if anybody knew about that, but yeah, it was a really unfortunate chili accident that led her to being off these
Yeah.
shows, and she's
So
missed.
we
Hope
did
she
not
feels
get
better.
our deer and judo connection, sadly. But we did get the return of Chanyota. Love Chanyota.
We did
Yeah, she was pretty
love
good in
Chanyeol.
this. Yeah, this was another one of those like okay matches, but I mean I enjoyed I and Chanyota just being together, so it was enough.
Bro, at one point it looked like Chanyeol just straight up or like I think it was Chanyeota did a torture rack, and Mai did a drop kick onto Hina, and that was like a whole thing. And it looked like they had straight up concussed Hina. Like Hina looked fucked. Like she got fucked up with that. But yeah, I thought there was some fun stuff. Like I said, Chanyeota not the greatest in ring worker. She's definitely a bit more green, but she definitely has potential. And this match was solid. Had some fun stuff. Again, I would put in the same level as the match before it, where it's like, oh, it was like solid. There was like some good stuff, there was some bad stuff. Um, but it wasn't like bad or great. It was just kind of like, you know, enjoyable. You'll probably forget it in a week.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I almost don't remember it now, and I mean, I have to watch it to review it. Like, that's kind of the match we're talking about here. Um, Now, there was nothing really after that to sink our teeth into. They did a backstage thing with Ida and Chanyota trying to outmuscle each other that went up on Twitter, but that wasn't really connected to this match. So, but that set up their showcase match. The next match on the show then was another New Blood Tag Championship tournament match. It was Karma and Starlight Kid defeating Mariah May and Zaya Brookside. When Karma,
You know, I have a team name for Mariah May and Zaya
okay,
Brookside. It's called it's the whitest girls you know. You ever heard of them? What the whitest kids you know? Great comedy sketch tribe back in the day. So yeah, they're the whitest girls you know. That's the that's the team name. Sorry,
all
go on.
right. Well, yeah. So Umasaki rolled up Zaya Brookside with what they're calling a Gianna. I don't know. It's just looked like a normal roll up to me.
Okay.
But yeah, this the karma,
Yeah, that was just a lemon high
yeah,
straw, wasn't it?
seemingly, but I don't know. The karma is slowly getting rid of some of the worst aspects of it. Like they're clearly workshopping it all the time.
Yeah.
But still not like good, you know. Um,
Yeah. So let me preface. So I initially she came out, looking weird, and I was like, oh, I've never actually read what the words were on her face, and so I like was looking, and I was like, oh, does that say never sleep? Because that would make sense. Because the only person dumb enough to come up with this must have severe insomnia. Um, but apparently it doesn't say that. It says something else. I don't know. Sleep is on there.
yeah, it was
And
never sleep, I think.
yeah, was it
Yeah.
never sleep? Okay, yeah. Which makes sense. Again, severe insomnia. I hope Haruka Umasaki feels better because once she gets a few hours of sleep, I think maybe she will realize that this is a really dumb character, and very bad. But uh, yeah, I thought the match was all right. Like it was mid. I'm gonna be real. Mariah May again, only person that I have positive things to say about. Which depend on how you feel. This is not positive, but I took a note that said Mariah May reminds me of like Charlotte Flair in a good way. Like she feels like what, and I think people started saying this about some chick on NXT last night. So don't, I did not steal this from them. I came up with this first. Not every white blonde woman who is tall is like Charlotte Flair. I said this first. Let me get that straight. Um, she's like what Charlotte Flair thinks she is. You know what I mean? Like she has like that. She has like the skill wise part of Charlotte Flair, but like the actual enjoyableness Mariah May also has. So yeah, Mariah May and Kid did some cool stuff. Um, Zaya called Kid a loser, and Kid does not know what English is.
It's pretty funny.
So she said, "What's a loser?" And then like 5 seconds later, she's like, No. I was like, okay, kid, great comeback. Um, Fireball spot was dog shit again. It was really bad. It feels like it gets worse. Like you're right, they are like workshopping it. Some things are getting better, but this ball spot, it feels like it's gotten worse every time. Like the first time was really bad. Second time was still quite bad, and this might have been the worst because she just did it. Besiah Brookside just like ate it and then walked away, and was like, "No, I dodged that actually." I was
Yeah,
like, "No, you
Zaya
didn't.
rolling out of the way of
This is
the
bad."
of the flame was like, all right, okay.
She rolled into the flame. I was like, in fact, it looks like it would have hurt you more than if you just
Mm.
stood there. Like, oh man, don't even get me started on the post match, bro. Oh my god,
No,
I
that
forgot
was
about
great.
that for a second.
I won't accept any slander. Um,
There's no way that these cheap ass motherfuckers have refused to get a wireless mic this entire time, but then they decide to buy one so that Karma can have a fucking voice modifier, dude. They've been tripping over the cords for these mics for years. Years. And they're like, you know what? Let's invest in a wireless mic, not for anything practical, just so Karma, just for her. That's the only reason we're getting a wireless mic is so that she could have a voice modifier. Because that's where the budget goes in this godforsaken company. That is crazy. Some dude in the crowd literally just laughed out loud, like super loudly, and there was nobody there. It was an empty arena practically. So like some dude laughing in the crowd was like so loud. It was
I
hilarious.
mean, don't blame anybody for laughing. Like,
Like it was
if
great.
you weren't
Like no,
expecting it,
like the
it
moment
just comes out of
because she
nowhere. Like, a kid is talking, I'm pretty sure, and then hands it over, and all of a sudden, voice modifier.
I am Karma.
It does.
That's what happened. That's what happened. It was just some dude in the crowd just could not handle it.
That
It
was the
was great.
greatest thing ever.
I agree.
Honestly, the voice modifier is so funny. Like, never ever get rid of it. I need it. Like, it is so fucking funny. Like, it is great because like Mariah May was so good in this match that people were like, give this woman a high speed championship match, and then just forgot it instantly
That's absurd.
because of the voice. And Karma looked so serious. Like, how did she not break? How do you not burst out laughing hearing the fucking echo of
Do you
alien
know
voice?
how much I've had to defend this fucking woman, uh, Haruka Umasaki? Because
Stop,
like
probably,
I
because
like there are so
you
many
do.
takes. No, yeah, there are so many takes that's like, well, actually, Karma's better than normal Haruka Umasaki, and I was like, I'm gonna kill you. I'll hurt you. Because I am tired of the Haruka Umasaki slander. Watch one match of hers from Wave last year, or from the tag tournament last month, or from basically anything that isn't Stardom and that isn't a 30-minute time limit, because that was not good. We don't talk about that one. And it's good. Like she's a good wrestler, and I'm tired of having to defend it. This is bad. Haruka Umasaki is good. I will not hear anything otherwise.
That's fair.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. That is that match.
Oh boy,
I don't think Dylan ever wants to speak of this match again, but you know,
I prefer not to.
I mean, I understand. I understand. Um,
Not okay, it wasn't hell match though. Last week I said, "Oh, this is gonna be like the worst match I've ever seen. Like, this is my hell match." It
oh
wasn't
yeah,
that bad.
yeah, yeah.
Ryan May and
Mariah and
Kid
Kid
did some
was
cool
good.
stuff. I'll give them that.
Right. Um,
Still bad though.
okay, of
Come
course.
on.
Now the main event, yes? There's no other matches? Okay. The
Yes.
main event was the team of Tomoki Inaba and Mirai beating Hanan and Saya Ida. Mirai got the win with a Miramare shock when she got the pin over Saya Ida because, of course, um, yeah, this was the
That
strongest match
taxes
of the show, obviously, because I
certainly.
mean, look at who was involved. The Ida Mirai finishing stretch was so great. I imagine you loved it because it was just like they were just throwing lariats. It was
I mean, Eden and Mirai, I've said this for like a year now, are like one of the best. Like, obviously, there's like, oh, Suzu and Julia is obviously really good, and X is really good. But like, I feel like Ida and Mirai is like just that staple that you can always go back to. They make any match better if they are in
mhm.
it together and they wrestle against each other. That's how I truly feel. They're one of the most entertaining combinations in the company. Um, and yeah, this is what you want out of a New Blood main event. I'm happy that they gave this the main event instead of the Ami Mai match that happened a day later. Um, because I definitely really liked this match a lot. I thought it was really well done. Inaba and Hanan,
Mhm.
great together. They can like I wrote about their match from last year, the time limit draw in Corkin. I was writing about Hanan, so I had to go back and watch a little bit of the match, just like kind of skim through it. And I was like, oh, they're really good together. And this is like in a very unnatural environment for Hanan, that match, because she's never gone over 10 minutes, let alone a 50-minute draw. And so like you watch this and they are so much better than even then against each other that I'm just like they can run that back at any time and it'll be like a really, really good match. They're great together. I thought everything in this match was quite good. Uh Inaba and Mirai are great together. They finish things off with a back kick lariat combo that just like made Ida crumble, like it just crushed her completely. And then Mirai did the Miramari. Yeah, I thought this match was really, really good. Definitely best
Mhm.
match of the night.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Like it was like the pairings are just really strong, and that obviously makes the match
Yeah.
better just from the get go.
This should have been the final, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Obviously, they have a lot of stock in karma, but I definitely would have put this at least in the semis or in the finals personally. I think that would have been cool. But
I
is what it
suppose
is.
you needed a grab a headliner for this show, so you kind of had to space it out.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean this could have gone later. Like Wingori could have definitely gone further, and I wouldn't have complained. But this was a good main event to what was like a fun show to watch. Like I had a good time watching this.
probably the best New
A
Blood
while, yeah.
yet, if not. I mean, like they had the Suzu Mirai match, which is like
Such an outlier.
I think that was like 2. Yeah, that was like one of the greatest. That was one of the if last year wasn't so crazy, and I feel like everybody says this every year about wrestling, but like that could have been a match of the year contender on a
Mm.
weaker year. You know what I mean? Like for no reason. It was a 50-minute draw, but like that was just absurdly good. Uh, but so outside of, like that, it's probably the best New Blood, top to bottom, because like I said, I mean, even the bad match was like fine. It wasn't terrible. So it's like, I thought it was a good show.
No, I agree. That cannot be said for our next show. In some parts, I guess. So the next show to review was on January 21st. This is the Stardom Awards 2022 in Takadanobaba. It sold out Takadanobaba with 710 fans. Um, in the opener, we had a Future of Stardom Championship match. Ami Sourei beat Mai Sakurai in 10.5 minutes with like a thunder drop. Um,
Cool.
Thunderbolt, yeah, whatever. Um, so I mean, this was kind of good, like
This was this was like this was such a funny match because it felt like the stuff that hit
mm,
was phenomenal, but then they just completely missed on like 20% of
yeah,
the shit they did.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the 80% crisp, beautiful, well done, good work. 20% they just completely whiffed on it, fucked it all up, not good. But so like how do you even rate
Yeah.
that? You know what I mean? Cuz like 80% of it was really good work, but some of it just crumbled immediately. Like I remember like my Sakurai went to kick her and just like missed, and Ami just like kind of sold it and didn't know what to do. And
You
she's
know,
like, "Oh,
I noticed that
ow."
as well. My
It was
Sakurai went to
oh
throw
my
a
god.
combo, and I respect throwing the combo.
I respect the
Like
attempt.
it
I
was a
respect the
side
attempt.
kick, a spinny kick like Tam, and a head kick, I think, followed by a slap of some sort. And she only hit like half of that, but I was like, I respect the effort. Like if you ever hit that, it will be badass, right? So like, I respect that they were trying
My
stuff,
Sakurai
especially my Sakurai, but
wa-
her attempt at a head kick looked like if I did a head kick where it barely
it
meets
was
the
yeah,
shoulder,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Because I'm not very flexible. I do not stretch. Like that is not a thing, right? Don't be doing that here. So if I threw a head kick, it would look like my Sakurai's, where it maybe hits the shoulder, you know. But I respect her for trying, and I hope she hits it because it looks like it will be very cool.
My my Sakurai also has had more gear sets in the past 3 years than like most wrestlers
Yeah.
do in 10. Like I feel like she's had like 6 or 7 just since coming to Stardom. I feel like that's ludicrous.
Well, gotta put that merch money to use, right?
Yeah, yeah, I suppose so. But I was happy with the future match in the opener. I
Mm.
like them
Spot.
there instead of kind of feeling like you have to put them you have to put like, weight onto it. It felt nice kind of having that air of just like go out there, wrestle, do your best, go to
Yeah.
the finish. Like it felt a lot more lax, and I think that's where the future belt shines instead of those main event matches that they kind of put Ami into the past couple times that did not work in my opinion.
And I mean, it could only go up from here. With I don't know who's gonna challenge honestly, unless they like wait a while for Rena, but I have no idea. Um,
I feel like Rena is probably the one who takes it off of her if anybody
maybe
takes it off
because
of
there's
her.
nobody new. Like there hasn't been anybody new in a while. Like even
No,
signings wise, so I don't even know who could take it off her. Like kind of wild, kind of weird. Um,
who
yeah.
fucking knows?
Next match on the show then was a six-woman tag. This was Tomoka Inaba, Mirai, and Shuri of God's Eye beating Starlight Kid, Raqqa, and Rina of Young OED. Shuri got the win with the Suzaku submission over, I want to say Rina? Yeah.
Rena.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, oh, this is cool. Young OED look cool. And then I saw God's Eye, and I was like, oh, they're going to beat the shit out of these children. And the children jumped them before the bell. And I was like, ah, this is Hilo at a tie. Okay. Yeah, there was some good bits then after, like Mariah and Raqqa tried to do Hoss stuff, and there's a bit of Tomoka Inaba and Starlight Kid, but yeah, generally just was alright, like.
Yeah. I thought Rena and Ruaka kind of held things together,
Mm.
which is strange. You know what I mean? Like it's strange when those two are forced to be kind of like the groundwork of it, I guess. But I thought they did fine. I think Rena regularly gets really good stuff out of these sorts of matches. Like her and Shuri had a solid closing exchange to where like Rena felt like she almost beat her once or twice, and that's absurd. I think I've been saying absurd a lot. I don't know why, but Rena, I don't know. She's one of the few anchors in the company that feels like competitive for the entire match, as in like Momokogo. If she gets in there in the last 5 minutes of the match, she is getting zero offense, and you're just
Mm.
waiting for her to lose. Or she's getting like one thing of offense, and it's really just like, okay, can she just lose now? Because this is just not compelling at all. I feel like Rena doesn't really have that issue. Even though she's gonna lose, she feels like she's in this fight until the end, and I think that's a good thing to have in comparison to some of the others. I think Waka had that a lot, uh, where she's kind of like gave up and died. Um, she's had that like her entire career. I think she's kind of grown out of that as well. But I think Rena's really good with that. Um, yeah, Inaba and Kid did a cool thing. It was nothing. It was a nothing match.
Yeah, no, it was just an undercard tag, really.
This was a nothing show.
I'm gonna tell you, after this next match, I was questioning everything. This was Utami, Hayashishita, Sai Kamatani, and Azumi of Queen's Quest versus Lady C, Himeka, and Maika. In the Triangle Derby, Utami pinned Lady C with a German suplex in 12 minutes to get the win. And
Would you believe me if I said 10 of those 12 minutes, it's just
would,
Lady C?
because I complained about this. I was like, I know they're doing the whole story of like Lady C being enticed away from Queen's Quest, and I understand that. But in this match, with these people involved, one of the last things I wanted to see was Lady C and Utami as the closing stretch. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I also did the opening
Yes.
stretch. That was the craziest part. Was Lady C just did the entire match. Like, I'm pretty sure Micah got in for like 40 seconds, wrestled Azumi. It was kind of fun. Then tagged back out to Lady C for 4 minutes. And then Jamaica got in, tagged in, did some good stuff. Wrestled for like a good, minute and a half, tagged Lady C back in. And then Lady C was in for the rest of the match. And I was like, that is not right. That's so fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I've heard of protecting your stars, but this is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
that's the thing with this Triangle Derby so far, and I feel like a lot of people have been saying that it's quite underwhelming. At least a lot of people I know have been like, yeah, there hasn't even been a 4-star match yet, which, I mean, I wouldn't blame anyone. And it's because they will have so many good wrestlers in these matches, then they'll be like, okay, the obvious loser is going to be in here for 10 minutes with pushed commodity. And it's
Yeah.
like, I was just there was a point when I was watching this match where I was like, I'm starving for two pushed wrestlers to fucking do something, you know? Because
Just give me Micah and
yeah,
Utami
like
for like
that's it.
three
Like this
minutes,
tag
dude.
league has been
Like,
so there's been so little of that. It's been Ida versus whoever. It's been Lady C. It's been like Zaya Brookside. It's been like generally the person who's like lowest on the totem pole in their team against somebody, and you're just like, I would rather this be like two or three other people, you know. So it's that's gonna
Yeah.
drag down the derby a lot. Is that they just seem afraid to have the actual stars do anything with each other. And instead, like, you're seeing all the mid carders in the ring for the entire time, and it's that's okay when it's house shows, but when it's every match on the card, it's like, all right, this isn't it. So this match was testing me. I remember watching this, and I was like, this derby is gonna suck the life out of me. um, but I don't know, the show picked up after that, kind of. I thought anyway. I enjoyed the next
I'd
two
say it picked
matches.
up
Yeah,
after
I
the
enjoyed
next
the next
match.
two.
I really liked H&M versus
That's fair,
Providence.
yeah. The next match down on the show was a Triangle Derby match. It was the Rebel Enemy team of Maika Ozaki, Chairman Ram, and Maya Yukihi beating the Club Venus team of Mariah May, Zaya Brookside, and Mina Shirakawa. Yukihi submit Zaya with the whiteout in 13 and a half minutes. I don't know what it is, but when Club Venus are out there, there's something inside of me that just bursts out that becomes a diva stan. Like I want to be out there go, she did that. She
Yes.
did that. She ate. Like
Yes.
it is in my being. I literally
Because you keep telling me, I don't get it, and I'm just like, I agree.
yeah.
Like, cause I see some of it, but it's like there's like it is. I just don't. I don't see it the way you see it, but like I respect it. Like, go on, go like
Okay.
continue. This is yours.
Yeah,
Like all
because I
you.
saw them dancing before the match, and I was like, "This is gonna be 5 stars." Like, I just know it. Like, I was like, they're eating good right now. I am gonna be sustained. I am no longer starved. Because I was like Rebel Enemy and Club Venus. This is for the gays. This is for the she's and the theys. Like this is ours. But yeah, that's kind of my issue with Club Venus. Is every time I see them, I just want to say "Yes, Queen" as loud as I can for as long as I can. It is a problem. But
This is the first match where I think Mariah was not the standout because I thought Mariah and Ram was bad. Like that was like that was pretty mid.
I was gonna say this is probably Mina's best match since coming back. She looked really, really good.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
was good for Mina, but I feel like Mina was not around for that long. Like as long as I would want her to. Like I was enjoying Maya versus Mina,
Hmm.
and then Mina tagged out to Zaya, and I was like, motherfucker! Like I was gonna be like a good match. Like you know what I mean? Like it wasn't bad. Again, like I I don't think any of the matches on these shows, on these two Stardom shows, were bad. Like I don't have any of them as being like actively
Hmm.
not good, but okay, they are actively not good, but actively bad. Like I don't have any of them like that, but so much of them just left me like unsatisfied as a wrestling fan. You know what I mean? Like that's what happened here was that I was just like, oh, Maya and Mina is dope. Give like yes, I want to continue watching this. Then just Zaya. And the Zaya Maya was the Zaya Zaya Maya, that's say that 7 times fast, Jesus. The Zaya Yukihi stuff was fine, right? But like I was like enjoying Maya and Mina, which is more than I could say about a lot of Club Venus stuff. Like I was actively like enjoying it. I was ready. I was excited, and it just like kind of ended, and I was like, oh, okay. That was my takeaway
Yeah, I
from
know,
this
because
match.
I too was like, when Mina and Mayuki were going at it, I was like, oh my god, this was amazing.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
Yeah,
this is
they were
good.
very
This is
good.
good.
But yeah, I mean, I thought that, like, listen, Mayuki he could have a good match with me. Like at this stage, like her finishing stretch with Zaya was fun. And I thought Mina and Maika Ozaki was kind of fun when they were going at it as well. So this didn't give us the best pairing like a lot of these matches do, but I thought the side pairings they did were very good regardless. So I did enjoy this, and Club Venus did eat it up, and they did that. So.
You're a big Red Velvet guy, yeah?
Yes. How did you know?
Just makes sense. I like Red Velvet too, but like that's where we get it, right? Because like I
Yeah.
don't get this, but I get the Red Velvet. You know what I mean? Like I understand sometimes with some people I get it, but with this I'm
The
still a little bit
like my favorites
still
list is just all
disconnected.
over the place because like I'm here for like Sol
Yeah,
Ruka in NXT. I'm here for like Sol Ruka,
I've
Jakara
heard.
Jackson, who's wrestled like 5 matches. Like Thea Hale. I love Thea Hale, and nobody knows who that is.
I believe
And
that one too.
yeah,
I've heard the name like 700 times. I'm pretty sure like 600 of them was from you.
yeah. So
Uh,
yeah,
so yeah,
this is but yeah, Club Venus. I have a problem. But Club Venus, I've claimed it. Club Venus is for the days. 6 star
yeah, it's
gets
all
it.
you.
Listen,
It's
six
all you,
star,
bud.
agender royalty. She gets it. She understands. So it's
She's very aggressive about it too.
as she should. Um, but yeah, that's Club Venus. That was that match. I really enjoyed that match. The next match then was another Triangle Derby match. It was the Prominence team of Hiragi Kurumi, Suzu Suzuki, and Risa Sera beating Momo Kogo, Hanan, and Mayu Iwatani, also known as H&M. Uh,
Alex, would you believe me if I said that Prominence once again had the best match on the card?
I would, and I mean, I see Suzu and Mayu's name in there, so I'm not shocked. But yeah,
Yeah, it's
Kurumi
not
did
hard.
pin Momokogo with a body press.
I want to talk about that
Okay, all right.
underrated thing. Like the thing I did not expect out of the show was to be like, give me a Karumi Momokogo singles match
Wow.
because I don't know what it was, but Momokogo's body was built to be crushed by Karumi.
Okay.
That was what like that is like it's just they worked like it was like a fucking hand in a glove. Like just the entire closing stretch, Momokogo just got fucking battered by Karumi, and I was like, this is great. Both of them look incredible. Like Momokogo is selling her ass off. Karumi looks like a monster. This is phenomenal. And that's not even talking about like the actual good stuff of the match, which was Susie. I'm just fucking up with names today.
Susie.
Uh, no, because I read Suzu and Mayu, and so I saw a Y, and I was like,
Susie?
oh, Susie, like
That's not how that
Susie, yeah,
works.
I know. Well, there's a Y in Mayu,
I guess, but
so I saw the Y,
all right.
and I said Susie.
Okay,
It was
I
just whatever.
guess.
Suzu put in a fucking shift here. She did good stuff with everybody. Like her and Hanan had a really good thing for a minute or two. Obviously her and Mayu, who would have thought?
Yes, yeah.
Incredible. Uh, and then like even like it started with Suzu and Kogo, which I thought was like fine. Like I thought that was a fine start to the match. Um, I would say the one weak link of this one was Risa Sera, who got in for like 40 seconds, did some really boring work on Kogo, and then got out. And I was like, okay, I'm cool. I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
Then her and Suzu did some double teamwork. That was also good. Like, see, like it was just a good match.
yes. It was very good. Even Hanan was briefly doing cool shit. She like was in there with Suzu for all of 10 seconds and a crazy armbar, and I was like, oh, this is it. This is the match of the night here.
Oh, 100%. I have this as my match of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. And there was one spot where Mayu super kicked, because Hanan was doing a bunch of her judo throws, right?
Hmm?
She was doing them in a row, and then she tried to get Karumi, and Karumi's like, "Nah, I'm big, boy. Come on now, grow up." And then Mayu kicked her in the face, and then she got her with like the sickest judo throw, and I was like, "Yeah, that's my shit right there."
Oh yeah.
Good match. I like this was the match that like really like livened me up. This was that one match that was like, yes, this is what I felt satisfied with professional wrestling in this match. That's the only one.
Right. Okay. Because I enjoyed the next match. Which I suppose we'll just go on
I
to.
thought it was solid.
Yeah, so
Yep.
the next match was 7 Up, Yuna Mizumori, Yu and Nanai versus Gold Ship, Momo Watanabe, Saki, and Natsuko Tora. And Nanai pinned Saki with a roll up in 12 minutes. And I enjoyed this one. I thought Momo kicking the shit out of Yu was very good when that
Yes,
happened.
that was the best part in my opinion.
Yeah, and I thought there was a lot of cool team offense. These are like the only two teams who actually do triple team stuff, which is always really fun.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I thought that was really good. So then when you went from that to Momo throwing kicks, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is the one. And then Nanai and Saki was okay as a finishing stretch because I was
I found that so funny.
yeah,
Oh my god.
'cause I could believe like
Dude,
Saki pinning Nanai, right? Like I was like, oh yeah, she might like get her with the thing.
I mean that's the beauty of Saki,
Yeah.
right? Because I talked about anchors earlier. I think Saki is perfect because at any time she could pin literally anybody.
Mhm.
And just it makes sense, you know what I mean? But she could also lose to pretty much anybody on the roster. And it also makes sense. So that kind of has cemented herself as like you the tag match is never done with a Saki
Yeah.
tag match. You know what I mean? It's not done until it's done. And I really like that. But I will say that Raqqa getting in the ring becoming the 4th member of Gold Ship, beating the shit out of Nanai. Nanai gets fucked up and simply kicks out and then wins.
Yes.
That's what passion is, bro. That's what passion is, bro. That passion. Nanai has more passion in her fingertips than Oedo has in their entire fucking squad, and that's what she proved here. She overcame everything. Her teammates were on the floor, dead, and she was just like, "Nah, I'm 1-on-4 on these motherfuckers." That's what passion is. That's what fucking passion is. That's real. That's real.
Agree.
That's a shoot.
Agree. I make the tag champ look strong, you know. Um,
Fucking love Nanai.
Now that was the last
Oh wait,
derby match.
but after the match, Ruaka started talking so much shit that the Nanai tried to jump her. Like it was absurd. Like, did you see this?
Didn't.
Dude, it was so fucked. I forgot that Ruaka like isn't a kid anymore. But like, if this was like 6 months ago, I would have been going crazy because I was like, Nanai's trying to fucking attack a child who is not in the match. She's jumping a child, and that's just what was in my brain because it was like Ruaka just starts talking shit. Nanai gets out of the ring and starts hitting her, and then Ruaka throws the box at her. Then Ruaka runs, and then Nanai runs after her, and Natsuko gets in the way, like the fucking like the older sister that she, like it was insane. Ruaka and Nanai, best feud of the year. It was just heat. Freezer bomb versus refrigerator bomb. Who will
Oh
win?
yeah, they do have that beef over the finishing move.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool, actually. Yeah, I like that.
it was so funny because like I don't know why Ruaka was just deciding to start shit with Nanai of all people, but it was great.
It was. I'm gonna assume it was, and I'll probably rewatch it because I like when people have beef. Um, Now the main event of the show was the Julia 10-woman gauntlet. I'm not gonna lie to you, this one very much underwhelmed in just about every area. Um, like a lot of them did nothing with the 3 minutes, right? Um,
Mhm.
and then the ones who did were Hazuki, Tam, Saki, Boy, Waka. I know you're saying that's half of them, but the other half really did
Saki is
not.
interesting.
They have me scared because Saki was like standing over Julia at the end, like, and I was like, please don't give me Saki challenging Julia. I don't need Saki challenging for a belt again. Just go away. So had me worried
Go
there.
away.
Yes. Um, and I mean the other ones just never did much. Like Koguma was all comedy, which would be okay, but it was very stilted comedy. You know, it was very weird. Tekla was just kind of a little exhibition thing. I did skip the Ida part. I will admit that because I had I
How
had
dare
no
you?
I had no time, and I was like, okay, Natsupoi is just done, and we're gonna get Waka, and we need to see the walk. So we're gonna focus on that. And then Ida's music played, and I just fast forwarded. I just was I just was not arsed. So I did miss Ida's, but yeah, of the ones that did do stuff, like Hazuki obviously was fun in there with Julia. Tam and Julia started at 100, but then got way too cute very quickly, right? Within
Who would have expected
within
that?
3 minutes, Am had hit the Glorious Driver, and Julia hit the Violet Screwdriver. Because of course, I was just like, all right, you guys you don't have to do that, and so
Was that necessary?
yeah, so they got a little bit too cute with that one, and it was kind of like, all right, like it was kind of eye rolling more than anything. Saki brought the fight to Julia, but she isn't very good, so that was that. Natsupoi and Julia was interesting because Natsupoi was on top for most of this. A lot of her stuff missed. Like she was like doing the full mount on Julia and throwing slaps, and like half of them just weren't connecting. And I was like, What are you doing? Like go stop." So Natsupoi one was interesting because they did a callback to the turn as well. They did a kick on the apron and a German suplex. So they called back to the split, and then yeah, Julia was like, "Your slaps are doing nothing. I'm gonna shoot headbutt you." So she shoot headbutt Natsupoi, and yeah, Natsupoi then hugged her after because she was like, "I got my ass beat." So it was yeah, so that was
I'm telling you, she is living a life of regret.
yeah, and then the Waka one was fun, but Julia didn't really the near falls that they set up for Waka. Like Julia was kicking out very early, so I never really there was no drama to them. So
That's unfortunate.
But they did do a nice thing where Julia hit the Glorious Driver with like a few seconds left, and Waqqa kicked out. So like Waqqa earned her draw by
Holy
kicking out of
shit.
the Glorious
That
Driver.
is crazy.
Yeah,
That's dope.
she also hit the Northern Lights bomb, but the bell rang before she could pin. So Waqqa kind of earned her first draw, and then let's see, the best part was Julia cutting the promo after because she put Waqqa over huge. She was like, "It's your first draw in Stardom. Like you got it against me, the world champion. You earned it. You remind me of when I fight Tam." Like she was like, "You should win. You have so much passion. You're going for it." Like 2 days in a row, you had like big names in the company going, "Waqqa, you were fucking awesome." Like it was really nice. Like the post match promo was really really good from Julia and Waqqa. And that last 3 minutes was probably the best part of the match because the rest of it was very iffy. Like a lot of them just didn't make use of the 3 minutes at all. Um, and then some of them, the ones that did, like Tam got too cute and stuff like that. Um, After that, then Suzu.
You didn't even say the result, which was
Yeah, they were
a
all
bunch of
draws,
draws
and
and
then
one win for
she
Hina.
beat Hina because why not? I guess
Poor
Super
Hina.
Strong Stardom Machine was one of the X's, and I was just like, all right, I'm so over this fucking thing. Um,
How dare you?
Listen, all right, I'm just tired of it. After the match, then Suzu, my favorite thing of these shows is Julia will have like a tough match, and then Suzu just shows up to be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I'm gonna beat you."
What's up,
Yeah,
pussy?
it's so fun. The interactions between them are very interesting. But yeah, Julia was like, "Oh yeah, should have beat them all, but they were draws," and Suzu was just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna win your belt. I'm gonna become the face of wrestling. I'm gonna become the face of Stardom." And Julia said, "Oh, you want to be the face of Stardom? Well, I'm the face of women's wrestling." And Suzu was like, "Oh, you're the face of women's wrestling? Well, I'm the face of wrestling." They're they're doing this like,
That's so
yeah,
based.
they're like,
And Susan's right, by the way. She is
of
the
course,
face of
of course.
professional wrestling.
The shift in the dynamic between Julia and Suzu is really interesting because Julia straight up called her little sister here, and that's exactly what they are. The hatred between them is gone, and they're just like jabbing at each other now all the time.
It's Hina and Rena, except it's Hina and Rena in 10 years.
Yeah. So
Like that's where we're at.
like this promo was really just interesting because it was like they're just jabbing at each other. Like the hatred is gone, which is fair.
I
It's because they,
I really want Suzu to take the belt off of her. Not
yeah,
at this show, obviously, but like give me defense number 2 against Suzu in like a year,
yeah.
and like I would love Suzu to take the belt off of her.
They've set that up as an option, given that Julia was like, "Hey, you're still my little sister. You're gonna have to break through that if you want to be the face of Stardom." So I mean, they could come back to that, but for now, they're like the bickering sisters who
I love that.
are gonna kill each other for the belt because that's what they do, which is great. So I do love the dynamic between those two. The highlight of the Triangle Derby so far has been Suzu just showing up every now and then to be like, "Hey, hey Julia, I'm gonna annoy you." It's pretty fun.
She shows up and does the TikTok gimmick.
Yeah.
Just TikTok, motherfucker.
They haven't
I
said
will beat
anything
you.
of substance in all these promos. They're just annoying each
But it's
other,
great.
and it's
Yeah,
fantastic. So yeah, this was another one of those.
love that.
Yeah, that was that really. Very anticlimactic end to a show that I almost didn't enjoy, but then it got good. So that was, yeah. This Triangle Derby is rough. I'm not gonna lie to anybody. Nobody is having fun with this. Uh, it is not.
I mean, okay, anybody who is only and exclusively watching NSA and prominence matches is probably having fun. I'll say that.
Even then, some of them aren't like amazing, but yeah, I can see that. There's two shows to preview this weekend. They're pretty nothing shows.
Wait. Stardom Awards,
Oh
yay!
no. All
We
right.
can run through them.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
very the best technical skill, which we thought was going to go to Mirai, went to
Sure.
Azumi.
Why not?
Um, cool. Fighting Spirit Award, Starlight Kid. Who cares? Outstanding performance, which usually means beating the top champion. So I assumed Julia would win it, but she did not. It was instead Saya Kamatani, which I guess you kind of need to get Saya an award because she didn't really have anything else she could have done or gotten here, unfortunately. But it's good to see Saya get an award. The fan vote, Tam Nakano.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Best unit. Shocker, but I'm happy with it. Stars gets best unit of the
Hmm.
year. I agree with that personally. I I have grown. They've grown to be like the most enjoyable unit on average. Especially as a team. Ooh, I hit my mic. Sorry. Especially as a team, I feel like you kind of enjoy. I mean, they've been a part of the gold rush. They did good stuff with it. They did the ladder or the cage match rather. They've just always kind of had that like glue. They feel like a team more than a lot of the other teams. Um, and they've really exemplified that this past year. Best tag team award was Meltier. I feel like that was bound to happen, even though it doesn't like
Yeah. Yeah.
statistically it doesn't make sense and like all that. Best match award was Julia Shuri from the 29th, obviously, and then the MVP again obviously was Shuri. So those are the awards of the year. Mirai didn't get any, uh, Mina didn't get any, and those were the two major holdouts. I mean, Natsupoi. Well, Natsupoi got the tag award. So yeah, I'd say Mirai and Mina are the two that we kind of expected to get an award, but they didn't. Uh, but that's okay because you know the
They've
people who got awards make
they've
sense.
really been weird with Mirai since the GP wins. When she beat Julia and Mayu back to back. They've been very strange with her.
Yeah, yeah, I can definitely see that because I was thinking about that. She was always like top two of people who could take the belt off of Saya. She's about to lose to Hashimoto,
Mm.
and I don't know how she recovers from that. Like on the main. I mean, she could always win the new blood belts, with
Yeah, I
Iba,
don't think that's
but
out of the
like,
question because she's got nothing else to do. Like
yeah,
they've really.
like she's definitely not on the way up type of
Mm.
is what I'm trying to say. Which I kind of expect her to be because it felt like she was just constantly on the way up. It was just taking a slow and steady
Mhm.
approach, but I guess they're just not really focused on her anymore.
Yeah, it feels like they had an end goal with her and then had to change plans, and we're like, okay, you're here now.
You know, they did they did similarly with Micah in
Yeah.
her early year and a half or two. Because I mean, she beat Momo Watanabe like 3 times in singles matches. Like she just kept beating her. And that was when Momo like mattered. So like it felt like, oh, she's like gonna be doing shit, and then she just hasn't won a belt since
Yeah. I don't know.
you know a meaningful belt at least. So I guess they just don't like Taka trainees like that. Uh, we can move on.
Yeah, we do have two shows to preview before we go. They're very nothing shows, though. The first is on the 28th of January. Most people will be watching the Royal Rumble instead, I imagine. This is at the Funabashi City
Yep.
General Gymnasium in Chiba. In the opener, we have Hina versus Tomoka Inaba versus Rina. So, the judo people.
Interesting.
So that's fun. Tomoka
No,
Inaba is winning.
she does karate.
Oh, the same. It's fine. It doesn't matter.
It's very much not the same. Jesus Christ.
Is that,
They are
is
like
that,
direct.
hold
They
on,
are
hold
like
on. Is
directly opposed.
saying what I just said racist?
It could be. It could be taken that way.
Karate and judo are the
You
same thing.
chose
Like,
you chose the two. Yeah, you chose the two most prominent Japanese martial arts. And I was like, it's the same
Oh
thing.
no, I'm doomed.
Accidental racism is a staple. It's why you love Stardom Quest, in fact. Accidental racism.
Accident.
It's never on purpose. It's almost never on purpose.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Almost
Yeah,
never on purpose.
yeah, like you calling me boy was, that wasn't
Oh, I
planned.
was gonna say my thing against white women, but yeah, that
Okay,
too, I guess.
yeah. What a yeah. All right. Okay. Smoke Inaba's winning. All
Yes,
right.
yes, she is.
The next match is Mayu Utani, Hanan, and Momo Kogo versus Tam, Natsupoi, and Waka Tsukiyama. I mean, we know who's winning that.
You guessed it, not Waka Tsukiyama.
Yes. The next match is a Triangle Derby match. It is Club Venus versus Gold Ship, and probably a Gold Ship win.
Please take my pain away.
Oh yeah. The match after that is
Zaya Brookside versus Saki Kashima in the
yeah.
closing stretch is about to
Oh
drive me
my god,
fucking insane.
that's great. The next match then is Queen's Quest versus Prominence. So that might be a draw.
If Queen's Quest does not perform here, then I have given up.
Yeah, we're gonna have
Like,
to have a conversation.
yeah, because like this should be like a match of the tournament
Mhm.
contender. If they gave even the slightest of a fuck, you know what I mean? But if they don't, then we need to have a chat.
We will. Don't you worry. We will call them all bad. Don't you worry. But yeah, this might be a draw because I don't think we've had a draw in this league
I could
so
see it.
far.
I'm cool
Yeah,
with it. Prominence needs to drop
that's
a couple,
true.
I think.
Yes, they are like 4 for 4, I think so far. So yeah,
They've lost one.
yeah,
They're 4 for 5.
like that's crazy. The next match then is Unique Glare versus Rampage GE. So I mean probably a Rampage GE. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The match after that then is 7 Up versus Mahime with C. That's probably Mahime with C. Getting a win over the champs.
Maybe. I could see it. Like, I mean, I'm excited for this match because it's a preview.
Mm.
Like, it's a clean preview, and it should be pretty fun. I don't know. I feel like Nanai over Lady C makes a lot of sense too.
Possibly. But I don't know. I could see Mahime getting a win here since they're probably
Where's
losing the tag
7 Up
belts.
at? 7 Up is. Oh no, yeah, 7 Up needs to lose.
Yeah, yeah. So Mahime with C. And then the main event is the Barry Bombers versus Classmates. This might be a Barry Bombers win because they need points. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a shame because I feel like Classmates is like really dropping
yeah.
a lot of
But,
points,
you know,
which is like okay, obviously. Like it's not,
not either.
but
It's
it's
it's part of the process.
yeah. I mean, they have 3 more matches after this, so it doesn't really matter.
The next show to preview then is on the 29th of January. This is in Gunma. And in the opener, we have Waka Skiyama versus Tomoka Inaba versus Azumi. So it might be Azumi getting the win.
Inaba and Azumi is
Yes, it is.
an interesting pairing. I feel like they haven't done that yet, or they
Probably
did
barely
in
do it,
one of the
I'd
tag.
say.
They didn't do it in the tag league. Yeah, so yeah, I'm interested in this one.
Match after that then is Julia, Mai Sakurai, and Tekla versus Natsuko Tora, Saki Kashima, and Raqqa. So probably
Non-tournament.
yes, it's probably Julia being Raqqa.
Yeah, Bari.
Yeah. The match after that then is Utami Hayashishita, Sayaka Mitani, and Hina versus Momo Watanabe, Starlight Kid, and Rina. So, probably Rina's team pins Hina.
Yeah. They like
Yeah,
keeping Reno over Hina nowadays.
yes, as they
That's
should.
what you do. That's what you get for going to fucking school.
Yeah. Then we have a triangle derby match. It's Club Venus versus Mahime with C. It's probably a Club Venus win. Might be one of their last matches as well.
Why did I close the goddamn tab? Hold on, I'm looking at the
Oh
schedule.
no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Club Venus only has, yeah, these are the last 2
Okay.
matches.
Yeah, so
Are
they're
this
probably
weekend.
winning here.
Yeah, Club Venus wins 1, loses 1. I think this weekend.
All right.
So that they sit at 6th. They don't win anything.
Yeah, that's a
But
good spot for them.
yeah,
Then we have another triangle derby match. It's 7 Up versus Rebel X Enemy. Oh wow.
this should also be quite good. Like
I would hope so.
this sounds fun.
I
Also, I'm pretty sure it's Rebel and Enemy.
listen. I don't care. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I haven't a care in the world.
Okay, that's better.
Might be
I'm
Rebel.
gonna keep calling them
Yeah, it
anything.
might be Rebel and Enemy. Possibly, because I mean Yuna Mizumori is right there.
Yeah, I feel like okay, so it's getting down to brass tacks time. I feel like the way that I'm seeing it is Rebel Enemy and Prominence goes to the Gold Ship could. Uh yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah.
This is interesting because like it's getting down to obviously there's certain teams that have like 4 matches left still, but uh it's getting down to the point where it's like, okay, well, Prominence and Rebel Enemy only have like 1 more match after this weekend, or 1 or 2 more matches after this weekend. Prominence is already at 8 points, which means they cannot be caught up by like certain wrestlers. I'm pretty sure some people are already eliminated, uh, and they will be this
Mm,
weekend especially. So, yeah, I think probably Rebel Enemy beats 7 Up,
yeah.
'cause then yeah, that's why I go.
All right. The next match then is Cosmic Angels versus Classmates. I have no idea. Classmates, I guess.
Yeah, I think Classmates.
Um.
Yeah, because yeah, classmates.
Right. And then the main event is H&M versus God's Eye GE or Rampage GE. H&M? Well, H&M
I'm
probably gets
still
pushed
waiting for
forward.
an H&M upset. I feel like they
This is in Chiba,
definitely
right?
need
Is
an.
Chiba the not Maebashi? Is Maebashi the place the twins are from? Is it close to it? No?
No,
Okay.
no, no, no.
Alright, yeah. So yeah. Probably God's Eye then.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so H&M's gonna wait. H&M doesn't face. Oh yeah, H&M has Lollipop, so they'll beat Lollipop in a couple weeks. So they'll end up with like two. I feel like they definitely could get an upset. The only other matches are this match and Rebel Enemy on the 17th. So I feel like they gotta get an upset somewhere. Maybe they don't have to, but I feel like they will. And I think it's here. So yeah, I
Alright.
think I take H&M
Yeah.
over God's Eye.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one to call because H&M is just such a weak team on paper. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not an easy
yeah.
call, you know what I mean?
But I mean, look,
But
that's how these go. It's a tournament. That's stuff happens.
I feel like Mayu over Ami is like so like I feel like Mayu over anybody is
Yeah.
so easy. You know what I mean? Like they could just kind of layer it differently and nobody would bat an eye.
True. Yeah, I mean, you make a point. All right. Well, we'll have to wait and see.
That
Yeah.
is right.
We will be back next week to review these two shows and preview the return of cheering at Eddie Osaka Arena. That's gonna be so fun.
Ooh.
Gonna be very hyped. This show has gone quite long, so I'm not gonna stick around for too much time. It is time to close the show.
It is
Yes. All
indeed.
right. If you want to stand, you may stand. If you want to sit, you may sit. Believe today, shine tomorrow. You decide what you believe in. Ijo.
Yup.